Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter number 16, How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali, text number 3. Ajahara Ashwamedham Strin Gangayam Bhuri Dakshinan Sharadvatam Gurum Krutva Devayatrakshi Gochara. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaja Parikshit, after having selected Kripacharya for guidance as his spiritual master, performed 3 horse sacrifices on the banks of the Ganges. These were executed with sufficient rewards for the attendants, and at these sacrifices, even the common man could see demigods. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It appears from this verse that interplanetary travel by the denizens of higher planets is easy. In many statements in Bhagavatam, we have observed that the demigods from heaven used to visit this earth to attend sacrifices performed by influential kings and emperors. Herein also, we find that during the time of the horse sacrifice ceremony of Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods from other planets were visible even to the common man due to the sacrificial ceremony. The demigods are not generally visible to common man as the Lord is not visible, but as the Lord, by His causeless mercy, descends to be visible to the common man. Similarly, the demigods also become visible to the common man by their own grace. Although celestial beings are not visible to the naked eyes of the inhabitants of this earth, it was due to the influence of Maharaj Parikshit that the demigods also agreed to be visible. The kings used to spend lavishly during such sacrifices as a cloud distributes rains. A cloud is nothing but another form of water, or in other words, the waters of the earth transform into clouds. Similarly, the charity made by the kings in such sacrifices are but another form of the taxes collected from the citizens. But as the rains fall down very lavishly and appear to be more than necessary, the charity made by such kings also seems to be more than what the citizen needs. Satisfied citizens will never organize agitation against the king, and thus there was no need in changing the monarchical state. Even for a king like Maharaj Parikshit, there was need of a spiritual master for guidance. Without such guidance, one cannot make progress in spiritual life. The spiritual master must be bona fide, and one who wants to have self-realization must approach and take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master to achieve real success. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Many years back, one of my relative happened to call me for a film shoot, and as I went there, I saw that everybody was just waiting for the actor or actress to appear. Some of you also would have had this experience. We daily see some great personalities on the television, we hear about them, and when we get a chance to see them face to face, we become very excited. Here also in this verse, we see Deva Yatrakshi Gocharaha. When Maharaj Parikshit conducted the horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, he conducted 3 horse sacrifices on the banks of the Ganges under the guidance of Kripacharya, whom he chose as his spiritual master. And when he conducted these sacrifices, he rewarded all those who attended this sacrifice sufficiently. Because of his influence, even the devatas came to attend this yajna. Not only that, even the common man could see the devatas. That was the influence of Maharaj Parikshit. So in this verse, we find many important points. Ajaharashva medham strin gangayam bhuri dakshinan sharadvatam gurum kritva deva yatrakshi gocharaha. Prabhupada says in the purport, even for a king like Maharaj Parikshit, there was need of a spiritual master for guidance. In the Shastras also it is said, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yah Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Na Sasiddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. Whatever we do, whatever acts we perform, and especially the spiritual and devotional activities and the Vedic rituals, sacrifices, in fact, not only the Vedic and spiritual activities, whatever activities that we do, it should be done as per the Shastra. Many times we think that we can do whatever way we want. The whole world in this present situation, they all want to do things according to their own terms. But that is not the way. This whole world is a creation of the Supreme Lord. It is not creation by us. It is created by the Supreme Lord. So for that matter, any instrument, just like we purchase a new computer, and if we, without reading the instructions, just operate it on our own whimsically, what is it going to do? It's going to damage the instrument. Similarly, the whole creation is the creation of the Lord, and there are certain rules and regulations the Lord has made. So, we have to act as per the instructions of the Shastras, as per the instructions of the Lord. What are Shastras? Shastras are nothing but the instructions of the Lord, how to live, act, and solve our problems and get out of this world. But if we don't act as per the Shastras, yaha Shastra Vidhim Utsrujya, what is going to happen? If we neglect and act Vartate Kamakarataha, if we act according to our own mind, many times even people say, I don't want to follow the Vedic way, and they create their own kinds of worship, create their own kinds of tapasya. But what is going to happen? Vartate kamakarataha nasa siddhim. Siddhim means perfection. They are not going to get perfection that way. Nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham. They are neither going to get happiness by doing such, by acting in whimsically or according to their own terms. Na param gatim, and they are not going to attain the supreme destination. Why? Because, as we heard in the Shastras, our whole material body, just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the lust is sitting in the mind, senses and the body. Our whole body, mind, intelligence is corrupted by lust. Lust means not just the attraction for the opposite sex. Lust means the desire to enjoy independent of God. The desire to become like God, become equal to God. This is lust. So when our whole mind, body system is corrupted, our intelligence is corrupted by such desires, material desires, there is no possibility of attaining perfection. So that's why we have to follow the Shastra Vidhim. And who can tell us what is the Shastra Vidhim? It is the spiritual master who can guide us. Just like Kripacharya is guiding here Maharaj Parikshit how to perform the Vedic rituals, the Vedic sacrifices, Ashwamedha Yajna in a perfect way to satisfy the Supreme Lord. And because of that, we are seeing that even the demigods are coming to attend his yajna. So it's very important. The first important aspect of devotional service is to approach a bona fide spiritual master, is to approach a guru. The first thing to attain spiritual perfection, the first thing to attain self-realization is to approach a bona fide guru. Without approaching a bona fide guru, we can either get success in spiritual life, or human life itself becomes a waste of time. We lose the important chance to which is offered by the human form of life. That's why Shastra says, Ato Gurum Pranamya Ivam Sarvasvam Vinivedyacha Graniyad Vaishnava Mantram Diksha Purvam Vidhanataha. It is the duty of every human being to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. Giving him everything, body, mind and intelligence, one must take a Vaishnava initiation from him. So, it's very important, anybody who has got a human form of life, that we have to approach a bona fide spiritual master. That's why even Shankaracharya said, Athato Brahma Jignasa. This human form of life gives us a chance to solve all the problems of life. So, actually it's very important to approach a spiritual master to solve the problems of life. So, when we talk about approaching a spiritual master, what is the need? Why I have to approach? So, there are so many reasons the Shastras give, but the reason which appears to be most relevant for us, at least in our current state of spiritual advancement, we only are concerned of our problems in life. If somebody can solve the problems of life, then we definitely need his help. Of course, spiritual master is offering us the supreme benediction, is offering us Krishna and Krishna Prema and devotional service. However, by approaching a spiritual master, we can really make permanent solutions to the problems of life. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, as we see, when Arjuna, who was a great fighter, he had great knowledge, he had great skills, he was the best archer of that time. But when he encountered a situation on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he could not fight. He could not stand. His Gandiva, of which he was so proud, that Gandhi was slipping from his hand. So, Arjuna himself accepts this situation and tells to Krishna, Karpanya doshor apatasvabhava prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapannam. So Krishna says, now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So, Prabhupada says in the purport, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. See, the whole material activities, they lead us to this perplexity, confusion. We face so many situations and we don't know what to do. Just like 2 years back we faced the twin-year tragedy where everybody was so confused, fearful of the disease. People were even struggling to get a bed in the hospital. We don't want such situations, but still such situations are forced upon us. We have all the knowledge, we have all the so-called advanced scientific developments. We have done so much of research, but still we face such situation where we are still fighting for a bed in the hospital. So, these are the material conditions. However advanced we may be, however powerful we may be, the material conditions force us to this situation of perplexity. And when that happens, actually we should approach the bona fide spiritual master, and seek the solution. Why is this happening? Further, in the next verse, again Arjuna says, Nahi prapashyami mama paundayad. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like that of demigods in heaven. So Prabhupada says in the purport, although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of the principles of religion and the moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can only be given by a spiritual master like Krishna. So, we see that Arjuna who had all knowledge of the principles of religion and the moral codes. So sometimes problems are not just related to our body and mind. Sometimes there are bodily problems, sometimes there are mental problems, sometimes there are emotional problems, some decision making. So there are so many situations in life, and many of these problems cannot be just solved by being on the material platform. We have to raise ourselves to spiritual platform to solve the problems of life, to make proper decisions in life. So that's why our human form of life runs on 4 wheels. Just like the car has got 4 wheels, the human form of life also has got 4 dimensions. Just like there's a physical dimension, there is a mental dimension, there is the emotional dimension, and finally, ultimately, most importantly, there is a spiritual dimensions. So everything have to be kept in balance. We have to take help from the spiritual master, Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and strengthen our spiritual dimension so that we can solve the problems of life. Here, however, the stress is given to understand that what are the real problems of life? What is actually our real problem? Our real problem is not some scarcity of food or satisfying our senses. Our real problem is actually birth, death, old age and disease. So, our real problem is ignorance of spiritual knowledge. Our real problem is ignorance of real self, who am I? Our real problem is ignorance of the knowledge of God, who is God. Our real problem is our ignorance of our relationship with God. What kind of relationship do we have with God? Is He just our order supplier? Whatever we want, He gives, or there is something more? So these are the real problems, and these problems can be solved only when we approach a spiritual master. And that's why it is so important that we approach a spiritual master, so much so that all the great personalities, they all have accepted a guru, spiritual master. In fact, we celebrate Guru Purnima, the appearance day of Vyasadeva. But even Vyasadeva accepted Narad Muni as his guru. So it's not that Vyasadeva was not competent enough. He is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So he is all competent, he is all knowledgeable. But just to set an example to everyone that spiritual master is so important, disciplic succession is so important, Vyasadeva also accepted spiritual master. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he is Krishna himself, accepted Ishwar Puri as his spiritual master. Lord Krishna, when he came, he also accepted Sandipani Muni as his spiritual master. So we see, it's not that Krishna is the source of all knowledge. Tene Brahmardaye Adikavaye. He is the source of knowledge. He is the source of Vedas. He is the first person who instructed the creator of this material world, Brahma, about spiritual knowledge. So there is no need absolutely for Krishna also to accept spiritual master. But still he accepted so that the common man could understand that it is so important to accept a bona fide spiritual master, to accept the disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. We have to get knowledge from the disciplic succession. There are so many spiritual organizations. They give their own understanding of God, own understanding of spirituality. And if we simply follow, oh, this is a great guru, he has so much of knowledge, he speaks so confidently, he gives answer to all arguments. If we simply follow a so-called spiritual guru, not in the disciplic succession, then what may happen? Nasa siddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na param gatim. Just like one of these gurus was telling, you have to drink water in a vessel, kept in a pot, then only it's pure, all the impurities settle down. This is simple instruction about drinking water. But what does Bhagavad Gita say about this? Rasoham apsu kaunteya. When we are drinking water, we have to remember that the taste of water is Krishna. So if you approach one guru, maybe you will drink nice water, but will you attain Paramgatim? No. Because Paramgatim can be only achieved when we approach the disciplic succession who concludes and says that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are all the part and parcels of Krishna. Our duty is to surrender to Krishna. Then we can come to Paramgatim. Then we can come out of this material ignorance. So that's why approaching a spiritual master is very important, and especially approaching a bona fide spiritual master is very important. So, in this verse also, Maharaj Parikshit approached Kripacharya to perform this sacrifice. We see even Parikshit Maharaj was so qualified at the end of his life. Finally, he got a death sentence. 7 days later, he is going to die. So, what is he going to do? How is he going to face death? So, what did Parikshit Maharaj do? He sat on the banks of the Ganges, and when Shukadeva Goswami appeared, he heard from Shukadeva Goswami 7 days continuously without even eating, without even taking rest. He heard the complete Srimad Bhagavatam and attained perfection. So many times we face so many situations in the material world, and we have all different kind of solutions to deal with them. Some may argue that what is the problem? Like someone may say, I can simply ignore it. I can drink alcohol and sleep 7 days, and I can face death with no fear. You may face death with no fear, but when the death comes, whatever kind of intoxication you take, it's not going to work. Whatever kind of anesthesia you take, it's not going to work. The pain that a person feels when a person dies, it is said that it's like thousands of pins are pricking your body. And not only that, after death, if we simply avoid the material problems by so-called drinking intoxication and alcohol, what are we doing? We are simply we are trying to forget the material problems. But Parikshit Maharaj, he faced death without fear. Not only that, he won over the death by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And after he left his body, he went back to the spiritual world. So, facing material problems, Parikshit Maharaj achieved perfection. He simply did not ignore the material conditions. He did not ignore the death. He faced the death. Not only that, he won over the death, because next life he did not have one more material life. But if we simply avoid material problems, the problems are going to come again and again. When we get one more body, again we'll face birth, death, old age, disease, unless we of course become spiritually perfect. So Parikshit Maharaj, who was such a great qualified king, he also faced so much that he got a death sentence of 7 days. But he approached a bona fide spiritual master and achieved perfection. It again shows that how important it is to approach and surrender to a guru. So, in fact, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, one should always remember that a person who is reluctant to accept a spiritual master and be initiated is sure to be baffled in his endeavor to go back to Godhead. If somebody says, no, why do I need a guru? I don't need a guru. I can become perfect myself. I'll do some dhyana, meditation, and achieve perfection. So what does the Shastra say? He is sure to be baffled in his endeavor. And they give a comparison. He's just like a ship without a rudder. Just like you are in the middle of the ocean. You are on a boat, but there is no rudder. There is no engine. Is there any hope that he will come to the bay, come to the perfection? No. So, that's why we cannot say that, no, I can become perfect on my own. Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashrina sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. You have to approach a jnani, a person in the bona fide parampara. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, yes, it's very important. Without approaching a spiritual master, we cannot attain perfection. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So according to karma, we are traveling Brahmande Brahmite. The Brahmanda, we are on this earth planetary system. Above the earth, we have all the Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. And below the earth, we have all the Patala planets, Talatala, Sutala, all these Patala planets are there. So 14 planetary system, and we are just wandering in all these planets. Sometimes we can also go to heavenly planet, Indraloka, enjoy, but again we have to come down. Sometimes we may go up to Brahmaloka also, but again we have to come down. So all these, we are just traveling from one planet to another as per our karma. We are traveling from one species to other species as per our karma. But the fortunate person is the one who gets Bhakti Lata Bij, from whom Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So it's very important to approach and a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession and achieve perfection. So, morning we are singing Samsara Dava Nallida Loka Tranaya Karuna Ghana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. As I said, there are so many material situations, like it is just like the forest fire. Many times the forest fire is there. We don't want forest fire, but still the fire is there. And so many people, so many snakes, insects, so many living entities, they are killed by the forest fire. They get so much of trouble because of the forest fire. So, although we don't want forest fire, although we don't want birth, death, old age, disease, these things are forced upon us. And that's why we can be freed from these tribulations by getting spiritual energy, by approaching a bona fide spiritual master who gives us directions what is spiritual life. And his mercy is compared to the rains. When there is a forest fire, how much ever buckets of water you pour, it is not going to stop. Forest fire can be stopped only by rains. So in this way, it is very important to approach a guru. In fact, it is the first thing to do as a human form of life. It is said that Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya aprasadat nagati kutopi. Only by approaching a bona fide spiritual master, we can get Bhagavat prasada, God realization. Yasya aprasadat nagati kutopi. If we don't approach a guru, if we don't have the mercy of guru, nagati kutopi, there is no chance that we can get God realization. So, what does this mean is actually whatever hard work we are doing in life, we are all working hard to improve our situations. And some people are doing tapasya to improve his situation. Somebody is learning Vedic knowledge, jnana, to improve his situation. Jnana, yoga, tapasya, to improve the situation. But the situation will not be improved until unless we take shelter of a bona fide guru. So all our activities, all our hard work is meant for what? At the end, I should get shelter of bona fide spiritual master, isn't it? Because until unless we get a bona fide spiritual master, we are not going to solve the problems of life. And that's why all our endeavor will be a waste of time if we don't get shelter. So it is so important that ultimately we should take shelter of a bona fide guru. So, and it's very important to always remember the guru in all our endeavors. Guru, Gauranga and Krishna. It's not that, okay, I have taken help of a guru, now he is no longer required. The Mayavadis, they give this example because they are in their conception, everybody is God. I am also God, you are also God. So once I achieve perfection, there is no more guru. You can kill your guru. Just like you climb the stairs, then the ladder is no longer required, you throw it. But that is not the consideration of the Vaishnava thoughts, Vaishnava philosophy. The guru is always a guru. Even when we achieve perfection, we go to Vaikuntha, we go to Vrindavan, still we serve Krishna under the direction of guru in the spiritual world also. So there's a nice story. Once a person, he wanted to study the Vedas. So he approached a guru and he said that I want to study Vedas under your direction. And the guru said, Vedas is not some 1 year course, 2 years course. It's a 12 years course. And then finally there will be a test, graduation ceremony. He said, I am very determined to study Vedas and I see that you are very competent. Please accept me as a student. I am ready. Even 12 years course, I am ready. So he approaches that guru and the guru accepts him, seeing his eagerness, determination. So then 1 year pass, 2 years pass, then the 12 years pass. Then by 12 years, this person had become a master of all the Vedas. He knew all the Vedic mantras. And finally, the test of graduation came. So, in current day, of course, there is, we just celebrated the graduation day. But then, in the Gurukulas and all, there will be a test. And you have to pass that test and give suitable Guru Dakshina. So, the Guru, when the 12 years were over, now the disciple went to the Guru and said that, if you feel now I am qualified, then I can leave. So the Guru said, so now the final test is pending, but there is no time for me. So what you do, you go behind the Gurukul, there is one tree. You go there and chant this particular section of the Vedas. And in case you make mistakes, then what will happen? The leaves will fall down. If leaves fall down means you have committed mistakes, then again you have to take the course. So this person he was very confident of his knowledge. So he said, yes, Master, So he went under the tree, and that particular section, before we chant that particular section of Vedas, it is actually very important to remember Ganesha. So he knew all this. So he first remembered Ganesha. And as soon as because even sometimes many Vedic rituals also, first before doing anything, you have to remember Ganesha. As soon as he chanted the Ganesha mantra, invoked Ganesha, immediately all the leaves fell down. Then he got surprised. How did this happen? I knew all before even chanting the mantras which was supposed to chant, all the leaves fell down, which means he has committed so many mistakes. So he went back to the Guru and asked. So the Guru said, yes, before even remembering the Devatas, the first important thing for a disciple is to remember his own Guru, who has taught him this Vedic knowledge. That's why we always start Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane. So it's very important in all our endeavors, we always remember the Guru first. The human life, the ultimate success of human life is to have achieved a Guru, a bona fide Guru in the disciplic succession and surrender to him, take initiation from him. So, in this way we see Parikshit Maharaj has also approached Kripacharya. Of course, here we are not sure like whether, because here it may also be meaning Shiksha Guru, because Kripacharya happened to be in the side of Duryodhana, who just like Bhishma. Of course, Bhishma was also pure devotee of Krishna, but then due to the situation, as a part of his Leela, he was in the side of Duryodhana. So was Kripacharya. Kripacharya is also one of the Chiranjeevis. And later on, Yudhishthir Maharaj, before going to the heaven, all the Pandavas, he entrusted Parikshit Maharaj under the care of Kripacharya. And Kripacharya accepted that responsibility, and throughout his life he was guiding Maharaj Parikshit, and even this conducting of this Ashwamedha Yagna. And Ashwamedha Yagna is actually a very, very costly affair. In fact, it is not recommended in Kali Yuga. Nobody can perform Ashwamedha Yagna. What is Ashwamedha Yagna? The horse sacrifice. The Brahmanas are so competent that they ignite the fire by the mantras, not by using matchbox or ignition items. They invoke the fire by the mantras, and first they offer the horse or cow in sacrifice, and immediately it gets a new life. Suppose you put an old horse or old cow in the fire, immediately it will come out with a new body. That showed the competency of the person who is conducting the yagna. Then the real yagna would start. But as Kali Yuga approached, people were conducting all kind of animal sacrifice and simply satisfying the tongue and eating those animals. So that's why Krishna had to take avatar of Buddha to stop these sacrifices. So, Ashwamedha Yagna, and it is not an ordinary thing. It requires a lot of wealth. In fact, Parikshit Maharaj, Indra also came to attend this yagna. Indra himself conducted this yagna 7 times. So here we see Parikshit Maharaj has conducted this yagna 3 times at the bank of Ganges. So, I mean, we can compare. It's not an easy affair to perform Ashwamedha Yagna. And we got a lot of wealth, and it seems that actually Parikshit Maharaj got this information from Shiva that there is a big golden mountain. He went to that and he took all that gold from that mountain, and he conducted this yagna. All the utensils were made of gold, and all the dakshina which was given to Brahmanas was of gold. They gave gold in charity, and all the cows which were decorated to be given in charity, they also had all gold embroidery cloth and gold and silver ornaments in their feet, and their horns were decorated with gold. So in this way the yajna was conducted, and people who attended yajna, they were rewarded. And the dakshina was also given to qualified brahmanas. So what qualified brahmanas? The brahmanas were so qualified, it's not that, this person has given so much of gold. No, brahmanas, they were thinking they are not so much attached to material wealth, unlike so-called today's caste brahmanas. The brahmanas who attend this yajna, they thought, what will I do with this so much of gold? So they left it there only and went. Of course, the king has given, so he accepted, but then there is no need for me, so they simply left it and went. Later on, when Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to conduct yajna, there was no property, there was no resources, there was no money. So Krishna told, go to this place near the Himalayas where these brahmanas had left all this gold. So Arjuna went there and brought it, and then Rajasuya Yajna was conducted by Yudhishthira. So that's why one of the name of Arjuna is Dhananjaya, because he gathered all the wealth required for the Rajasuya Yajna. So it's not an easy affair to conduct this yajna, Ashwamedha Yajna, but Maharaj Parikshit conducted this yajna. And also in this verse we see that the Devatas came and attended this yajna. So Prabhupada says here, it appears from this verse that interplanetary travel by the denizens of higher planets is easy. So we all are trying to send so many satellites and things to other planets to find out whether life is there or no. But as per the Shastras, life is definitely there. We can also travel, and Vedas gives us information, but we don't want to listen to the Vedas. Thousands and crores of money is spent on satellites trying to go there and find out, but we don't want to accept Vedic knowledge, which tells what all things are there on the other planets, how to go to the other planets. Just like Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, if you want to go to the other planets, yanti deva vratan deva, pitryanti pitrivrata, bhutani yanti bhuteja, yanti mad yajino apimam. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the modes of, if you develop mode of goodness, you go to the higher planetary system. If you remain in passion and ignorance, you remain on this earth. If you develop ignorance, mode of ignorance, you go to the lower planetary systems. So interplanetary travel is very much possible, just like the Vedic knowledge. Here Krishna also says, Yanti Deva Vritan Devan. Just like if you worship Brahma, you go to Brahma Loka. You worship Indra, you go to Indra Loka. What to speak? You can also go to Vaikuntha Loka if you simply worship Krishna. Yanti mad yajino apimam. We can also go to the Krishna Loka, we simply worship Krishna. So these things are mentioned. So the Vedic knowledge is far, far beyond and advanced than the so-called scientific knowledge, whether it's about astronomy, interplanetary travel or anything. So here it is said how by performing this yajna, Maharaj Parikshit, even the common man could see the devatas. So right now we may question, why are we not seeing devatas now? The question is, where are we performing sacrifices? Maharaj Parikshit performed the great Ashwamedha Yajna, because of which Indra and other devatas came and attended his yajna. Who is conducting yajna? There is no one in this present age. Nobody is qualified to conduct so-called yajna, Ashwamedha Yajna. But however, the yajna which is recommended for Kali Yuga is Sankirtana Yajna. Yagne Sankirtane Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So in this Kali Yuga, the yajna that is to be performed is yajna sankirtana prayer. Kalau tad hari kirtana. So, in Kali Yuga, the yajna to be performed is Sankirtan yajna, the congregational chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, by performing this Sankirtan yajna, we are actually touching God. Also, to note important point is, it is because of the influential kings and emperors, it is because of Maharaj Parikshit that even a common man could get darshan of the devatas. So, we have actually no qualification, but by the spiritual master's mercy, we can actually see God. We can not only see devatas, we can see God also. Just like even during Prabhupada's time in Los Angeles, when there was huge Sankirtan going on, so Prabhupada saw and he immediately started chanting Narad Muni Bajai Veena Radhika Ramanamani. So devotees asked suddenly why Prabhupada started chanting. So later on Prabhupada revealed that yes, Narad Muni had come to see the Sankirtan Yajna. So a couple of instances devotees recall when Prabhupada said about this incident. And there was one more time when suddenly there was Kirtan going on and Prabhupada started smiling and laughing. So devotees asked, why are you smiling? Then he said that, Prabhupada said that he saw Narad Muni. So the devotees were very surprised. Oh, did you see Narad Muni? What was he doing? Prabhupada said he was also laughing. Then devotees asked, why Narad Muni was laughing? So he was laughing. He was very happy to see all the mlechas and all congregationally chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So by the mercy of Prabhupada, all the hippies, for that matter, all the people in Kali Yuga, in this age, who are far away from Vedic traditions, far away from Vedic knowledge, far away from knowledge of understanding who is God, such people accepted Hare Krishna mantra, accepted the Vedic philosophy, accepted Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and performed this Sankirtan Yajna, so much so that Narad Muni came to see this wonderful Leela. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.